Have you ever thought about how a life can just unravel? Not with some huge explosion, but with a whisper. Well, today we're diving into a story just like that. It's about a quiet betrayal and the even quieter strength it took to reclaim a life, piece by piece, from that silence.
It all starts with this one thought. This idea that a life could fall apart not in some big dramatic storm of arguments, but in a silence so deep you could almost miss that it was ending.
So let's picture the woman at the heart of this story. Her entire world was built on 30 years of marriage, a life that she truly believed was steady, predictable, and, safe. It was a world defined by a quiet, comfortable rhythm.
Her days were made up of all these small, comforting things. Coffee from the same chipped mug, watching the sunlight come through the same window. She later admitted that she'd confused all that routine with real security, believing the familiar silence between them was a bond, not a chasm that was slowly growing wider.
And then, on a totally ordinary Tuesday, that silence just shattered. But it wasn't a shout. It was just 3 calm, almost detached words. He just sat there, no guilt, no hesitation, and said, "I've met someone."
Her first reaction, it wasn't even anger. It was just pure confusion. Her mind was racing, trying to find any other possible meaning. A new client at work, an old friend from college, anything but the truth. It's that denial, right? That refusal to believe the very ground beneath your feet is cracking.
But the truth? Oh, it was so much worse than she could have imagined. When she finally asked how long this had been going on, his answer was just staggering. He'd been seeing this other person for almost a year. A full year of a secret life, hidden right behind that quiet, everyday routine.
And the conversation, it moves so fast from this bombshell confession to basically her eviction. There was no discussion, no fighting for their marriage. He framed it as just a simple, practical issue. 30 years of a life they built together, just reduced to a legal simplification.
So in the aftermath, the quietness of his betrayal was matched only by the quietness of her exit. She talks about this feeling of being slowly erased, of becoming completely invisible in her own story.
After she packed one small suitcase, he didn't try to stop her. He didn't even say her name. The door just closed softly behind her. And in that one gentle sound, she felt it, the finality of her own erasure. 30 years just gone.
The next few weeks were just a blur, living on a friend's couch. And the pain, it wasn't just heartbreak. It was deeper than that. It was this fundamental loss of identity. She felt completely invisible, as if her entire life had just been a mirage.
But then, right in the middle of trying to sort through the few things she had left, she found something. A turning point. A completely accidental discovery that would change everything, shifting her from being the victim to being the quiet agent of her own future.
It was just this thin, worn-out folder mixed in with a bunch of old mail and receipts. She almost tossed it aside, but for some reason, she opened it. Inside, old refinancing documents, the kind of boring paperwork you sign without really thinking about it.
And there it was, buried deep in the fine print. A tiny detail he had either completely forgotten about or just dismissed as unimportant. Her name, added to the deed years and years ago. The legal reality of her situation was not at all what he had told her it was.
So this one piece of paper proved she wasn't powerless. Not at all. She was a legal co-owner of the home she'd been kicked out of. And this wasn't just a document anymore. It was leverage. It was the foundation for a whole new plan.
Now, this discovery didn't lead to some big, angry phone call or a dramatic confrontation. Nope. Instead, it sparked a year of silent, methodical, and incredibly disciplined action. She decided not to react. She was going to act. So she spent a full year meticulously rebuilding her life from the absolute ground up. She got a lawyer, she built a financial plan, and she saved every single dollar she possibly could. While he was out there openly building his new life, she was in the shadows, quietly building a legal and financial fortress.
This quote just perfectly captures her new resolve, doesn't it? His biggest mistake was assuming her silence meant she was defeated. He expected her to just fade away. But her silence wasn't weakness. It was a strategy. And so exactly 1 year to the day after her world fell apart, she went back, not to beg, not to fight, but to execute the final part of her plan.
I mean, just look at this transformation. The woman who left with a single suitcase, feeling powerless and erased, was gone. In her place was a woman who returned with a legal folder, completely in control of her own destiny. It's such a powerful image of her journey.
You can just imagine the look on his face when he opened the door. His confidence just dissolved as she handed him the documents. He must have assumed she wanted back in, but her goal was so much bigger. With total calm, she delivered the line that changed everything. "I'm not here to come back to you. I've bought you out."
And then, the final move. She gave him 30 days to move out, the same kind of non-negotiable, quiet finality that he had shown her a year before. The power dynamic, it had been completely and totally reversed.
But here's the thing, this was never really about revenge. As she looks back on it, the story doesn't end with bitterness. It ends with this profound understanding of herself and a quiet, settled strength that is finally truly her own.
And this, right here, this is the ultimate takeaway. She realized that this devastating betrayal didn't actually destroy her life. It revealed it. It revealed the parts of herself she had ignored for years, and it forced her to build a new life, not on habit, but on her own terms, with her own strength.
And that's where this incredible story of quiet reclamation leaves us. It makes you think, doesn't it? It leaves us with this question to ponder. In our own lives, where do we mistake routine for real security? And what does it truly mean to build a life that belongs completely and totally to ourselves?